Good morning. Welcome everyone to our Dharma family service. Wow, it's our last Dharma family service for February. We'd like to begin our service with chanting, and we will chant Juseige, and the words will be on the screen. Namandam, 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 namandam. Kansho segan hishimu jodo shigan fu manzok seifu joshogak gao muryoko fui dai seshu Fusai shobingu, seifu joshogak, gashi jobutsudo, myosho chojippo, kukyo mishomon, seifu joshogak, ryokujin shonen, joe shubongyo, shigumu jodo, isho tenninshi, jinniki endai ko, 不傷無才道、少女三苦名、交際主役難、海一へ言、滅死根も安、閉塞小悪道、通達全宗門、高僧上満足、いよろ実法、日月主樹期、天候音普賢、一種解放像、公正功徳法、上大集中、説法四式、供養一切仏、具足主徳本、元年出上満、徳意三害用、如仏無下地、通達未不詳、願学エリク、投資最小尊、志願略国家、大仙王感動、国書天人、東鎮妙見。ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、ナマンダブ、がんにしくどく、平等性祭、道本大心、往生安楽。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナマンダ仏。ナマンダ。Okay, next we would like to recite the three treasures. Oops. Hold on. Okay. The three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. 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 Okay. Well, thank you very much once again for joining us for our service today. I think you might have seen a different picture appear on the screen. I'm going to share it now. There. That's my cat, Kismet. I have bad news. She passed away last week. She had had a stroke, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, and recovered. It was really amazing that, she could have this stroke, and then she's 22 years old. And yet bounced back, and within a few days she was walking by herself, and we gave her stairs back so she could climb up to the couch by herself. We tried to keep an eye on her and everything, but sometimes she's eating, so I think, oh, I can go give her fresh water now and come back, and there she is on the couch. She climbed up by herself. Amazing, right? But then last Sunday, she had another stroke, and this time she didn't come out of it. She didn't recover. But the reason why I'm bringing her up is because her name is Kismet. And I thought I'd talk about that a little bit in tribute to Kismet, the 22-year-old cat. I was talking about it online on a forum with people that I just know online. And one of my friends who knows that I'm Buddhist and knows that I'm a Buddhist minister said, "Oh, I find it quite ecumenical of you to call her Kismet," right? Because Kismet, I guess, has this kind of religious meaning, right? And so I said, I didn't name her. Someone else gave her the name Kismet. But realizing, okay, so I got to look this up. I got to dig in a little bit more and find out, what does Kismet mean? And I guess it was really popular at late 19th, early 20th century. It was much more popular as a word. It came from Turkish, but originally coming from Arabic. Right, and so it's a different word, right? It's become English, but originally, I think a lot of times we kind of understand it to mean fate, right? It was Kismet, right? And so I had to dig around a little more, because fate can mean a lot of things, right? And one meaning that Kismet can have is a feeling of kind of resignation, right? That I wanted to be rich, but I guess who am I to go against Kismet? It's not my fate to be a millionaire, I guess. Right. So this kind of idea of fate, sometimes fate can have a kind of negative sense like that. I think it could also have a kind of positive sense too, right? Oh, it was Kismet, right? And that's kind of how I felt with Kismet the cat, Kismet the 22-year-old cat. Of this sense of kind of, oh, maybe it was meant to be that we would be her caretakers at the end of her life, right? That she brought so much joy to us, even it wasn't always easy. She could be kind of bossy, for one thing, but then also she did begin having health problems last year that she didn't really actually, she had, I counted, when she started having the health problems, I went through my records, and she actually had seizures when we first got her. And she had over 20 seizures that we saw in the first year that we had her. And so it wasn't easy. We worried about her a lot, and it was really concerning when she would have those seizures, but they stopped miraculously. We don't know why. We didn't really do anything different, but she stopped having them. And so we had 2 blissful years of no health problems. But then her legs started going, and then, she had the stroke and everything. And yet, it was okay. It was actually an honor to be able to take care of her, right? To go through that experience of she couldn't even walk the first few days after her stroke. So we had to pick her up. We had to figure out, is she hungry? Does she want to drink water? Does she have to go to the bathroom? Right. And kind of time it and learn her rhythms kind of. And we had a few accidents, right. Of not making it to the litter box in time or whatever. But it was okay, right? That was part of our relationship, I guess. And maybe that was Kismet, right? Of being able to have this living being to take care of. Attitudes towards animals and even things is so different in different cultures. And Recognizing how precious her life was and how precious the time we had to be with her. For us, I think had this kind of Kismet kind of idea. Now, Buddhism's kind of interesting. If we think of Kismet as fate, right, of things being kind of predetermined or predestined, right? Buddhism has some different views on that, I think. I think in one sense, Buddhism says no. Ultimately, things aren't predetermined, right? That karma can be overcome. So, the Four Noble Truths, this recognition that life is suffering, or life can be difficult, or life can be unsatisfying. But then Buddhism gets kind of analytical. Well, why? Why is that? Well, it's because of these desires. It's because of our ignorance. Second noble truth, right? That the cause of that suffering is ignorance, desire. The third noble truth is you can get rid of the result by getting rid of the cause, right? So that if we could eliminate desire and ignorance from our life, then we could also eliminate that suffering. And then, the original version is Eightfold Path to be able to do that. But I think that path, right, that there is a path. Different kinds of Buddhism have different answers to how we can do that. So, Buddhism is interesting in that sense of not accepting fate, right? Not accepting that things are predetermined. It's nothing we can do. And yet, that karma, right? The karma that keeps us bound to samsara, that keeps us bound to life and death. If we don't recognize our ignorance, right? If we don't encounter some kind of teaching to help us overcome this kind of chain of cause and effect, then maybe we are kind of bound, right? And I think we can see that in our own lives. A lot of times I have habitual reactions to things, right? And someone can say a certain thing and I get angry, right? Or I see a certain commercial and my desires are awakened once again, right? For ice cream or whatever, right? Just on a very simple kind of sense. So when we see, oh yeah, I recognize maybe I am kind of programmed, right? Maybe I do have these kind of habitual reactions. I think that's a lot of what karma is, right? And so if I don't recognize this, then I just keep making the same mistakes again and again and again. If I don't recognize this, then I can be played so easily. Buddhism wants us to become aware of that. Even if I can't change that necessarily, because it's really hard, right? Maybe I can try and change some of these habits, and yet push the right buttons and they click on once again. It's like reflex, right? When the doctor taps your knee with a hammer, can you stop yourself from kicking? Right? It's a reflex action. It's what so many of our bodily reactions are automatic, right? I don't think about breathing. I don't think about making my heart beat. I don't think about making my blood go through my blood vessels and everything, right? It's just automatic. That's just this kind of automatic functioning. Now, if I realize, wow, a lot of my emotional reactions, a lot of my, right, the things that I do, the things that I say, the things that I think are like that, and realize, whoa, wow, that we are in a way kind of chained to this. So maybe fate does have kind of a layer in Buddhism, right? That if I don't wake up, if I don't realize this, then yeah, I'm just kind of slave to my emotions and my instincts. So recognizing that as part of it, maybe we can also try and make some changes from that. But there's another level too, just thinking about one of the things that I hear Shinran say, that one of my favorite statements. Right? He says, if you encounter the Nembutsu, right? If you encounter the Buddha Dharma, if you encounter Buddha's practice, for us of Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, but also Shinjin, this kind of entrusting mind, right? Realizing, wow, there's something here, huh? There's this Buddha Dharma, this path of Buddha's teaching is something special, and it makes sense. And I'm beginning to really believe in this. Right? So if you should come to realize this practice in Shinjin, This is Shinran again. Rejoice at the conditions from the distant past that have brought it about. Rejoice at the conditions from the distant past that have brought it about. So causes and conditions, right? That's another term that we hear in Buddhism. Realizing that everything I do it's not me as an independent actor in control of everything, right? That so much of what I do is because of causes and conditions. It's because of how I was raised. It's because of experiences that I had. I don't even have to go to past lives, right? We can just realize, wow, yeah, I'm kind of programmed in a certain way because of my life experiences, right? Because of my education, because of the culture that I grew up in, I do certain things. Right? Maybe when we meet someone from another culture, that's what's great about meeting people from other cultures, right? Realizing, oh, my culture isn't the only way. My culture isn't the only one. And I meet someone from another culture and they do different stuff. And sometimes at first it might be, whoa, what's that? Why do they do that? Actually, it's usually more me that does something that makes Japanese people be like, why do you do that? Why are you kicking things with your foot? Or, why, just different cultural values. And when we meet someone from another culture, it puts my own cultural values in a new light. And I can see myself better, right? And I can realize that maybe things that I take for granted are things that I received in a way. So this, recognizing conditions, recognizes these causes and conditions, inconceivable causes and conditions. Duncan Newton Williams, when he spoke here, he talked about mysterious causes and conditions, right? That there's all these causes and conditions leading up to this present moment, me, or what's happening in the world. So that if I realized, oh, wow, I've been able to encounter the Buddha Dharma, I've been able to hear this teaching of Nembutsu and Shinjin, right? Of entrusting in the Buddha, realizing there is another way beyond greed and anger and ignorance. Unfortunately, that's what we see a lot of, and especially now, and it seems like we're falling into a big pit of more and more, right? Greed and anger. Just really, really horrible to see what's going on in the world right now, in Ukraine. And do we really have to go back to a world of war, right? Of countless suffering, of destruction, and just pain? Right? We're going to have so many refugees now flooding into Europe and into the rest of the world because of one person's greed, or just this greed that we see. Power, right? Greed isn't just for material items, although I think that's functioning too, and that's been a prime mover in wars of the past, right? But this greed, not just for material riches, but for power. And anger and just hatred that gets the flames are fueled, right? And just this greed and anger is samsara. Do we really need to indulge in that? I feel like for me, the Buddha Dharma turned me away from that, even though recognizing how powerful those are, the three poisons, right? And yet, Buddhism points a way out. I think other religions do too. Unfortunately, religion can be twisted and perverted to just indulge in what it seems like it should be teaching against, right? And we always need to be careful of that too. But realizing, wow, the Buddha Dharma is really, really special, right? If you should rejoice, if you should encounter this Buddha Dharma, then rejoice at the conditions from the distant past that have brought it about. This appreciation. And I wonder if maybe there's some of that in Kismet too, right? To realize, whoa, this is really, really special, right? This relationship is really, really special. This life is really, really special. Appreciating that. One aspect of appreciation that I like is understanding it. Appreciate, wow, why is this happening? Oh, it's because of so many things, these causes and conditions. But appreciation can also mean gratitude. Right? And so, we read in the beginning too, the three treasures, right? It begins, hard is it to be born into human life. Now we're living it. Right? That this life is precious. It's not something to take for granted. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma. Now we hear it. Oh, I've been able to hear this teaching of Nembutsu, right, of Shinjin, of the Four Noble Truths, right, of six paramitas, all these impermanence, interconnectedness, all these teachings of Buddhism, right? They're there not just to look at and be like, oh, okay, whatever, right? Ideally, to take into our life and be able to help lead a better life. Things don't always go the way we want. There's always difficulties in life too. But having the Buddha Dharma in my life helps me be able to live within that. I mentioned resignation at the beginning, right? That kind of resignation aspect of Kismet, maybe. And we have that, shikata ga nai, shou ga nai, right? Sometimes the forces are bigger than I can control. Right? And yet, it's not just, so forget it. No, it's shou ga nai. I can't change the conditions around me, and yet I'm gonna persevere, right? Gonna gaman. Namo Amida Butsu. Right, realizing as difficult as things are, we're embraced by this wisdom and compassion, which I hope encourages us, right, to face these challenges head on. It looks like we have a lot of challenges ahead of us right now, huh? In so many ways, in the world around us, and so I hope that this Namo Amida Butsu, right, this wisdom and compassion of the Buddha, helps us be able to face them head on. So why don't we conclude with reciting the name of the Buddha, the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay, and now I'd like to turn it over to Robert Noguchi for our announcements.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Let me share my screen with what's going on here. Okay. Starting with the an event that's happening. Actually, let's go back to this. If you scroll down on BC events activities, you'll see this flyer right here regarding Sahomi Tachibana, American Legacy of a Japanese Dancer. And that event will be happening this Thursday, March 3rd, which is Girls' Day, 5 to 6 p.m. Via Zoom. And there's a lot of information on just this one flyer about the history of Sahomi Tachibana, as well as her family and her background, and a lot of information. So I'm not going to go over it right now, but please take a look at this. And if you'd like to join in on this, this will be this Thursday, March 3rd, from 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Also coming up is the Buddhist Churches of America Annual National Council meeting, which is an annual meeting that's held in February, March to all BCA leaders of all the temples and ministers. And it's going to cover 2 weekends, Saturday, Sunday, March 5th and 6th, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 11th, 12th, and 13th. So there's a number of different items. The meeting itself will be on the 12th and 11th and 12th, and that'll be for delegates only. But there are a number of other workshops that will occur over the course of those 2 weekends. And here's just a small list of what's going on. You'll see that there's actually some involvement by some of our Oakland members as well here in this event. But I wanted to highlight on Sunday, March 13th, at 10 a.m. will be the BCA Taikyo service with guest speaker Reverend Kenji Akahoshi, BCA Minister Emeritus, who recently retired from the San Diego Buddhist Church. We will not hold an Oakland service that day. We'll all be attending this BCA service at 10 o'clock our time on Sunday, March 13th. So that's actually 2 announcements I'm trying to cover right there at the same time. So, okay, so that's on our BCO website. Something that just came in from the San Francisco Giants, a Japanese Heritage Day, an annual event that they hold, will be Saturday, March 21st at 1:05 p.m. with Giants against the San Diego Padres. And let's see, so that's being held that day with in accordance with the Giants. So there's a flyer on our website regarding that too. It's a cute T-shirt that you can get too. Going to the BCA, the Buddhist Churches of America website. You scroll down, you'll see some upcoming events, and we'll cover a couple of them very quickly. We've been in a session for college students and young adults to engage in conversation with Jodo Shinshu Dharma teachers called Buddhism Beyond Gratitude. The fourth of 5 sessions will be happening this Friday, March 4th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Pacific time with Reverend Patty Usuki from the San Fernando Valley Buddhist Temple. You can register for that. There. Another one that just got added is happening on Saturday, March 19th from 11 a.m. Pacific time with Reverend John Turner of the Orange County Buddhist Church called Shinshu at the Movies, Trapped in a Cycle. So that'll be happening on Saturday, March 19th. And those are the current announcements I have for the Buddhist Churches of America. And going back to the BCO website, we appreciate any donations that you can give. It's not required, but donations are much appreciated. There's another number of different ways to do that through general donations, Shotsuki service donation, which, by the way, Shotsuki for March will be held next Sunday, March 6th, as well as just weekly Osai-sen just for attending today's service. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much for joining us again, and we hope you have a great day, and I'll send it back to Reverend Bridge.
Thank you, Robert. I was going to say that, yeah, that Giants t-shirt is pretty cute with a cat. Good thing I'm not a sports fan, or I might be interested in trying to get it. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for our Dharma family service. And yeah, we'll be back next week for the regular Dharma family service. And then the week after that will be the BCA service. And then hoping maybe in person for Ohigan, third week. But we'll have more announcements about that when it gets closer. So why don't we conclude our service with Kansho once again, bringing Buddha to mind in the midst of life. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.